Someone is knocking from under the snow. The blue lights keep time while we dig. When my shovel punches through, a mouth exhales my name. Keep your mask on, Jen yells over the wind, but the wind swallows everything. Her cruiser lies sideways across Hart Ridge like a dead whale, light bar painting the drifts electric. My headlamp carves a tunnel through flakes the size of quarters. The snow near the guardrail is stained a rusty pink where a flare bled out. 2 pings, Fitch says, tapping his avalanche receiver with a glove. 17 meters and shallow. We're inside 9 minutes. The knocking comes again, 3 short, 1 long, muffled and polite, like a neighbor through drywall. I go to my knees and start scooping with my forearms because the shovel feels too slow. My breath fogs the balaclava and then the fog goes the wrong way and slips into the hole. Unit 6, copy scene update, dispatch says in my ear. Be advised, multiple ghost calls from this location. Caller used responder names. Do not answer if addressed directly. I don't say copy. I dig. Ice crystals chatter against my sleeves. Under my palms the drift pulses once, a deep animal muscle twitching. The probe finds soft, then firm. I push until knuckles hit belt buckle metal. Got a body, I say, before I remember not to. Buckle. Upright. Seatbelts, Fitch calls from the other side of the drift, voice tunneling thin. I've got glass. This is a roof. We've got an upside-down SUV. The wind goes quiet with the cruelty of a switch. Sound drops out except the teeth-on-foil squeal of the light bar. In that hush, the mouth under the snow breathes again and it isn't the car. It's the snowpack itself, opening and closing around a ring of ice as if lungs were something a mountain learned tonight. Noah, the mouth says, perfectly, the vowel warmed like home. It is the voice that taught me to read, and I know it's a trick and still I go colder than the air. Jen's hand clamps my sleeve. Don't, she says. The face shield of her helmet is frosted solid, only her eyes move. You heard dispatch. The probe shudders in my grip, picks up the second ping. To my left, below the plow berm, red snow streams into a crack like paint poured into a drain. It runs uphill against gravity until the light strobes trick my brain into forgiving physics. Fitch slams a Halligan bar into the drift and the metal screams like a train. Inside the upside-down cab someone coughs twice and then waits to find out if the world will notice. I widen the hole until a breath bursts out and fogs my visor gray. There is the wet slither of jacket nylon. There is a smell, antifreeze, copper, stale winter breath. A knuckle wraps mine. Then fingertips. Then a hand finds my wrist and holds it with the exact pressure my father used when I was small and tried to run into waves. Don't talk, I tell the hand, because that's sane. Squeeze twice if you're alone. It squeezes twice and also says my name through a mouth that I haven't dug to yet. Jen throws me a sling rope. Anchor to me. If it drops, you don't go with it. Blue strobe, white world, red smear. I rock back on my heels and the snow hisses, scoots forward, settles, like a chest adjusting after a too big breath. My headlamp halo glitters off 1,000 glass beads. Somewhere down the grade the plow engine coughs and resets its idle. A shape moves in the powder 100 yards off, tall, weightless, wrong, and the beam skates off it the way it skates off space. Who else is out there? I ask nobody, and the nobody answers in the scanner with a child's lilt we heard on the way up. We're under the white, the little voice says, caught on repeat, all the hurt worn off the words by how often they were pressed play. Fitch yells, door, and the drift collapses inward in a tidy shrug. The hand on my wrist jerks, panics, then calms, as if someone advised it. Ice knuckles my shins. I knock my goggles crooked and the hole stares back like a pupil. Do not put your face to a pocket, Reyes always says, because then the pocket learns a face is a door. But the pocket is speaking now, and that should be impossible. Noah, it says in that mother voice. Noah, honey, open me. Jen, I say, not looking at her because eye contact is a gift. Listen. She hears it. I can tell because her stance goes wide and her helmet lowers an inch like you do for strangers who know your day job and not your full name. Keep talking to me, Unit 6, dispatch says quietly. We have 2 ambulances en route and a second plow. Do not name. I am not naming, I say, and the mouth under the drift repeats not naming with a smile in it. I dig around the talking place, not at it, carving a crescent to the left where the beacon reads 3 meters, then 2. My shovel hits safety glass and the hole exhales sharp. A headlamp inside flickers on, light like a trapped bug. For a moment I see a kid's mitten and a pair of doll eyes, and then it all flips as snow slides and the doll is a cracked screen and the mitten is a seat cover torn. Jen jams the Halligan and levers like a dentist pulling a nail from a jaw. On my count, she says, and the blue lights freeze for a breath, off on, counting with her. 1, 2. The drift drops. My rope goes tight. The hand on my wrist yanks, hauling me toward the hole with an excited strength that's not about fear. I feel the pocket's breath on my palm, cold and wet and eager, as if it can smell the heat in my glove and has been waiting for exactly that flavor all night. Jen leans back on the sling and hauls me a foot, the pocket sighs and reaches farther. My glove squeals on ice. The hand on my wrist is not a hand anymore, it is a ring of cold pressure, rubbery, insistent, trying on my pulse like a watch. Talk to me, 6, dispatch says. Ambulance 2 out at 11. Do not name. Do not put your face to flow. I wedge my shovel like a rib and lever a shelf. Glass avalanches in sugar scrapes. The upside-down cabin hiccups open. A woman hangs in her belt, eyes milked with frost, mouth frothing white that forms letters and forgets them. Beside her a child's seat is empty. The car is full of breath that isn't theirs. Fitch jams his shoulder under the roof line. On 3, he grunts. Now. We roll the woman half out. Her skin is febrile warm under shock ice. Her chest shudders though her lips are blue. My mitten brushes her teeth and the pocket uses her mouth like a glove and says my name with gratitude. Mask. I shout. Jen slaps an O2 mask on the woman's face and tightens until the strap squeals. The visor fogs. The sound the breath makes through plastic is wrong, it is happy. She's breathing, Jen says. Without a pulse, Fitch says quietly, 2 fingers under her jaw. His eyes don't look at me. How does that even? The drift answers by flexing again. The hole squints and smiles. The blue lights pop and buzz, and every time they strobe the pocket fattens like a bellows. Kill the bar, I say. Jen, kill it. She wades and slaps the switch. The ridge drops 3 shades darker. In the hush that follows, I feel the breathing under my knees go thin, uncertain, petulant. The scanner crackles. A little voice, the one from the ghost call, tries a new word. Cold, it says. Then, sweeter, Noah. A second voice tries my last name and gets the wrong vowel the way people did before I stopped correcting them. Don't teach it, Jen says under her breath, as if the night could read lips. We drag the woman onto the tarp. Her head lolls toward the road cut. Frost clinks off her lashes. Her chest rises on a rhythm that matches the light bar's dying tick even though the bar is dead. The O2 bag peeps. The cold tries to make glass of my fingers. Where's the second ping? I ask. Fitch lifts the receiver. The tone plays hot and then splits. Left, he says, then frowns. And also everywhere. He turns in a circle. The numbers bounce. It thinks the hill is full of little people. Jen's helmet turns toward the dark shapes beyond the plow berm. Something tall is still there, only closer now, patient as a tree that learned legs tonight. From the pocket, a small mitten pushes up like a dandelion through frost. Jen makes a sound I have never heard from her. We dig with hands until the mitt becomes an arm, becomes a jacket with no person in it, just a length of ice tubes bundled neat as intestines. The tubes suck, sigh, and shrug, trying different words. Back, I say, bile hot. Back now. The bundle touches my coat. My name warms in my ear as if whispered through wool. For a moment the snow loves me. For a moment it feels like forgiveness with teeth. I cut the tubes with my knife. They flap and spray cold vapor and stitch themselves back together like wet hair. The mitten squeezes nothing, practicing. The empty sleeve leans toward my face. Dispatch comes in soft. Do not let it learn your breath. Find a wall. Use the truck. We haul the woman. The snow begrudges each inch as if negotiating custody. The tarp tears, the bundle of tubes tries to hitch along. Jen kicks it, it pops like a lung and refills humming. Halfway to the cruiser the breathing follows under the crust, keeping pace, tapping at our boots like mice under a floor. Jen slaps the rear hatch and it won't rise. Frost welded it. Fitch bays at the lock with a pry bar and the bar sings. The blue dome tries to wake itself and fails. In that twitch, every pocket for 30 yards exhales in delight. You guys hearing this? Fitch says, strangled. It's saying my. Do not, Jen says, sudden hard. We flip the woman into the back seat instead. The cabin light ruins our night vision and paints everything gold like a movie where love survives. Her chest rises. The monitor boot line crawls. The speaker by my knee lets a click out, then a child's voice, we're under the white. Then, with my tone, softer, help me, Fitch. Fitch staggers a half step toward the hole. The drift lifts slightly like a pet offered a hand. I grab his parka and yank. Eyes here. Count in your head. 1, he says, too loud. 1, 2. Not out loud, Jen snaps. Jesus, Fitzy. The shape beyond the berm bends at the waist. It is tall enough that it forgets how. When my beam finds it, the light slides and goes weak. The world around it refracts as if the air is a face about to open. We're leaving, Jen says. Load and go. Second ping, I say, because leaving with a live child somewhere under our boots feels like sin that will find me later. The receiver decides for me, the tone leaps to the back window. I look. The glass is white save a small melted oval where warm breath has kissed it. The oval expands and contracts. Inside the car with us, something is a pocket. Jen's hand freezes over the ignition. The oval exhales a name that belongs to no one here. Then it tries mine again and gets so close I want to answer just to fix it. Windows down, I say, stupid, desperate. Dump the breath. We crack both rear windows. Cold slashes in. The oval thins, resists, elongates like a jellyfish, then rips itself loose with a soft ripping noise that I feel in a place under my tongue. The breath slithers out into the storm and loses its shape. The pockets in the drift rush to catch it, huffing like animals under a porch. Drive, I say. Jen slams it in, the rear tires spit grit, and the cruiser drags itself off the crown with a groan. The ridge falls away in blue and white stripes. The upside-down car roars in the mirror as snow fills it like water. Fitch. Dispatch says. Telemetry shows elevated heart on your fob. Count. Fitch breathes, counts silently, swears backward, laughs once and slaps his own cheek like he can wake a version of himself that should never have said yes to nights. The woman on the tarp breathes through the mask with wet determination. I press 2 fingers to her neck. There is no pulse. There is another pulse, somewhere else, counting in my hand like a child tapping under a table. We're 5 out, Jen says. Her voice is basement flat now, cop calm, mother of storms. Prep Bay. I look back. The blue light makes everything pretend to be inside a fish. Shapes skate at the edge of glass. Breath writes on the rear windshield from the outside inward, letters forming then slumping. It spells my name, gets the vowel wrong, corrects itself. Stop looking at it, Jen says without turning. I put a blanket over the rear window. The letters continue under the wool, impressed through. On the scanner, the child's loop breaks. A new voice uses my cadence. We're under the white, it says, and then the thing behind it that never belonged to any mouth says, we're above it too. The bay doors bloom ahead, hydraulic arms lifting as if to welcome winter in. Blue gives way to white sodium. People wait with gurneys and hot breath. For one bright second relief feels possible. Then the bundle on the tarp sits up. There is no spine in it. It is rope and ice and a shape that has learned how to sit by watching 1,000 rescues. It tilts its knit cap at me and opens a place where a mouth would be if anatomy made new rules to fit wanting. The place says my name into my mask from an inch away, loving and exact. I rip the mask off before it can take me with it. Cold bites my teeth. The place leans farther and touches my lips with cold damp like a winter pain you challenge with breath. It inhales. I feel something leave me that I am ashamed to name. Jen breaks hard. Hands open doors. The bay fills my ears. We haul. A medic grabs the woman and freezes with a small sound like stepping on a kitten. No pulse, she says. Still, breathing. Fitch stares past me. He says quietly. Noah. I look. Outside the bay, the world is snow and blue and the cut of the ridge. In our wake, the drift we dug reforms with a slow, pleased swell. A face presses up from under, not hers, not a child's, not a stranger. Mine. My mouth opens under the crust and fogs the air. It says my name perfectly and waits for me to agree.